This is the Resilience Code, turning adversity into strength, one story at a time. I am your host, Arbaina Kawilan, and if you ever want to share a story of yours, there's a link in my bio. When Dolly Parton said, "Storms make trees take deeper roots," I felt that in my bones. Because storms weren't occasional for me, they were constant, one after another, bending me, but also forcing me to dig deeper into myself. And here's the thing, storms doesn't just strip us down, they show us what's unshakable. My first storm was abandonment. My parents didn't choose me, and the only constant in my life growing up was my grandmother, and she was illiterate. That meant school for me was extra hard. Other kids would have their parents helping them with homework, with reading, projects. I didn't. And if I wanted to keep up, I had to figure it out all myself. That's when I learned if I wanted guidance, I couldn't wait for someone else to provide it. I had to show up for me because no one else could. But here's the truth I didn't see then. Storms of abandonment don't prove you're unlovable. They reveal how deeply you already long to belong. And when that longing mixes with survival, it doesn't just stay in your heart. It shows up everywhere, even on your plate. That was my next storm. Scarcity. My grandma, the one who raised me, was very resourceful. She was a farmer after all. She made with so little and somehow stretched what we had. She would plant things that we can consume eventually. But not everyone around me was like her. My aunt, for example, was terrible at handling money. When I was in third grade, she eventually went back to the Philippines to become my full-time caretaker. And this is also the time that we finally had access to my mom's money directly because she would send it directly to her. But instead of managing that money that we had, she would spend it all like there's no tomorrow. And when that money runs out, she would borrow money from loan sharks. And in the Philippines, there is this one common lending practice. We call it 5-6. And basically, if you borrow $500 or 500 pesos, you'll have to pay $600 or pesos. It's quick cash and they always provide you money, but it also comes with a heavy price. And even with the borrowed money, even with that, she would spend it like she hated money. Like there's no tomorrow, only today. And she'd always say, there's no money, there's no money. Over and over again, like she was speaking it into her soul. And the truth is, she was. Words are spells. What we speak is what we become. Her words rippled into me. And I carried that storm with me, believing that there would never be enough, that I am not deserving of having enough, believing I would never be enough. That's the grip scarcity has. It doesn't just empty your pockets, it empties your mind and your soul. But there was one storm no words could fix. A storm called silence. When my recent ex-husband spent the night in jail, I called my mom the next day using my friend's phone after crashing into her couch. And I told her what happened. And the first thing that she said was, "Go back, he'll change now that you've put him in jail." And when I openly talked about everything that had happened to me, she told me to not say anything because it's embarrassing. And the thing is, this is not the first time I was told to be silent. On the day of my first wedding, my first mother-in-law told me that since you never grew up with a mom, you can consider me one. You can confide in me. And I believed her. So when her son had physically hurt me, she was the first person I told. And her response, "Don't tell anyone. It's embarrassing." In both occasions, my heart sank. Because that's the kind of storm silence is. It convinces you that the truth is more dangerous than the violence itself. That survival means burying what happened even when it's burning inside you. But here's what storms of silence don't want you to know. The truth doesn't destroy us. Silence does. And that's why today I speak openly on this podcast, on a stage, in my social media platforms, the very thing I was told to hide. Because resilience is refusing to let silence have their last word. Still, even after breaking silence, I found myself in another kind of storm. Not one that tore me apart, but one that tested who I was becoming. Because once you've lived through abandonment, scarcity, and silence, the question becomes, how will you stand when the world still denies you? For me, it looked like standing in my truth even when the systems tried to erase it. My abuser got away with criminal charges. The state of Texas dismissed the case. Justice wasn't handed to me. But my truth still stands, and I refuse to bury it. It also looked like navigating life after survival. I'm still learning what financial abundance feels like, but I don't live in the scarcity mindset anymore. The storm of never enough no longer controls me. And with every storm that I've survived, my discernment has gotten sharper. I no longer give all myself away. I no longer say yes just to keep the peace. Now I show up fully and honestly where I needed to, and nowhere else. I show up in spaces where I'm valued, not used. I show up in places where I'm celebrated, not merely tolerated. And that's what's different now. Storms still come, but I meet them with clearer eyes, stronger boundaries, and deeper roots. That's empowerment too. Not living storm free, but finally knowing the difference between what deserves my energy and what doesn't. Storms strip away what's shallow. They only leave, they leave only what can't be shaken. And that's the gift. Storms don't just test us, they anchor us. After each one, I didn't stand the same way. Instead, I stood deeper, stronger, more rooted in who I am. And maybe you're in the storm right now. Maybe it's loss, betrayal, illness, or the quiet storm of burnout in our modern world. And here's what I want you to remember. Storms don't mean you're weak. They mean your roots are worth testing. And every storm forces you to discover a strength you didn't know you had. So today, ask yourself, what storm shaped me the most? And what root did it force to grow? That's where your resilience lives. And that's it for today. If it stayed with you, sit with it. If it helped, pass it on. And if you've ever got something on your own, the link is in my bio. You don't have to fix it. Just name it. And always remember, resilience isn't about pretending you're okay. It's about choosing, again and again, not to be hardened, but to be changed.